Hey hustlers, another question from the Grammy. Let's jump right into it. The question was, how have I made friends in new cities? So some backstory here. I grew up in North Carolina and then I moved to the Bay Area, California, and then I moved to Arizona and then I moved back. And in between there, I studied abroad. I've gone to Colombia several times. I went to school there as well. That's where I'm originally from, Colombia, South America. And I've always had the great fortune of making friends. And people want to know, Ingrid, how do you make your friends? Where do you find these people? So I am here to tell you. So let's get into it. I wrote down 5 sources that have helped me make friends, and I hope that they'll be helpful to you. The first one is Bumble BFF. Now, while I'm pretty against using apps for dating, which I'll get into that in a whole nother video. I think Bumble BFF for making friends is great. This is how I made like my girl group in Arizona, and it was wonderful. And I'll get into that like a little bit later. But I think Bumble BFF is a great place to start, especially if you're a woman. I find that Bumble BFF is more so catered to women. I've talked to men who have downloaded the Bumble BFF side of the app, and it just doesn't seem to be a lot of males on that side of the app. So Bumble BFF. And it works just like you would on the dating app. Like you swipe right, you swipe left, and it's touch and go. Definitely when I lived in Arizona, it took me longer to find my people. There were a lot of girls that I was talking to, but then no plans were actually formulated. But nonetheless, I was able to find my people. 2, I use the Meetup app. So I think one of the best things that you can do when you move to a new city is if you have your hobbies or you want to pick up new hobbies, get on the Meetup app and go out and meet people. If you have a dog, go join a dog walking group. If you like books, join a book club. If you want to go and try new foods, like join a bar crawl group or a once a month restaurant going out to eat group. There's so many groups on Meetup. I've met so many people on Meetup. I've joined book clubs on Meetup. I've joined roller skating groups on Meetup. What else? I've gone on to museums, and I've gone to groups where every month they just do like one different activity, and I've made friends that way. And even when I've gone to groups where I haven't made friends, I've always ended up having a new experience, meeting people, chatting, at the very least just getting out of the house. And I think that's very important, like when you get into a new city, especially if you're an extrovert like me and you want to make friends and you want to like be out and about. And you don't always want to do things by yourself, right? Like, I think that can be helpful. And also if you're an introvert, there's meetup groups for introverted people that have activities that you might be interested in. And you can even do virtual events on Meetup too. There's tons of virtual events. So if you want to do something from the comfort of your home, like a paint and sip or like a craft class or a cooking class, or talk to people about technology or some other hobby that you're interested in, like Meetup is the place for you. So I love using Meetup for that reason. My third tip or ways that I've made friends is when I got on Bumble BFF. And I learned this after, I learned this living in Arizona, and now it's just become my default, is you want to find like one quality person, one person that you want to be like their friend, and hopefully this person has other friends, and then they'll invite you to like their friend groups, and then you'll meet a whole bunch of other people that way. So when I had Bumble BFF in Arizona, I met Giselle, who's one of my really close friends, and she introduced me to Nadia, who is another friend that she met on Bumble. And then she introduced the both of us, and then Nadia introduced me to a few other people, and that person introduced me to a few other people. And before we knew it, we had like a group of like 8 gals, and we could get together every month to do whatever, and we'd hang hang out all together or separately, and they're still some of like my closest friends, and I'm so grateful for that. So I would say maybe focus on a few like quality people on the app, and then allow them to introduce you to other people. I've selfishly done the same here in California. I met one wonderful lady, and she introduced me to her other lady friends who, you know, we're all cut from the same cloth. And I think that that's what's important, which gets me into my next one, is going to networking events. Now, I think that this one for me, it's important to be around people who share a similar mindset, quote unquote, like cut from the same cloth. This is also why I'm like not about the dating apps, because I think the best way to meet people is, I'm not going to say organically, but find them in interests that align with your values. So anyway, if you want to meet like-minded people, consider attending a networking event or something like the meetup groups that I'm telling you about. But I've gone to networking events for technology. I've made some really good girlfriends through these groups because they're women, usually within a similar age group as me, working towards the same thing, whether they're in the same industry, or they're in the same position as I am, or they're striving towards that. And that has been super helpful to me. There's also networking events for like women empowerment or like women entrepreneurship groups, other events like that. That are not necessarily career related, but personal development related. And I've made great friends through those as well. And it's a wonderful way to elevate your community, your community of people that you're surrounded by. And it's networking from an angle of not necessarily like looking for a role or for a next opportunity, but surrounding yourself with people that are going to push you to grow, push you to be a better human being, but people that you can also go out to dinner with and have a good time with and actually form a friendship with. And I think that that's very important. And lastly, how I've made friends in new cities. Like, this was kind of weird, but just about every single time that I've traveled, especially when I've gone on solo trips, I've met people from all different countries, but I've also had the interesting opportunity to meet people that are from my same state or from a nearby city, and we've exchanged numbers and we've stayed in touch. And that's another way that I've made friends. If you take solo trips, go out and go talk to people. Like, there are friends waiting to be made. And if not, please do yourself a favor and go on a solo trip. It is one of the best things that you'll ever do for yourself, regardless of whether you're extroverted, introverted. It'll really push you outside of your comfort zone, and it will be a fun experience. And if you give yourself the opportunity to meet people, you never know who you're going to meet. I was just talking to someone and they were telling me how they met their husband at the airport lounge when they were waiting on a layover for their flight, and their now husband was flying to a completely different country, but they had like the same layover. And long story short, like, they stayed in touch, they exchanged Facebook. This was like way back in the day. And yeah, eventually like they met up in like a whole nother city and got married. So like, I know that sounds as if it's from a novel, but it happened. So go out there and travel. Again, maybe try to meet like your people, not just romantic partners, but like your friends and stuff in a more organic way, and places that align with your values. And I think that that's a key to making friendships and relationships last. So anyway, I hope you guys enjoyed like this short video. Thank you for being here, and let me know in the comments, how have you made friends in new cities, especially for my people that have moved around a lot. Have you tried any of these? What have you thought? Have they been helpful at all? Or do you have any other suggestions on how you can make friends in a new city? Thank you guys. See you soon.